being up here, you're just so much more connected to the air and the sky and the water. It's magical.
So we're on the 11th floor. It goes up to 22. The views are incredibly expansive.
From our living room, you see the entire Baltimore skyline. Spectacular water you see for miles. This is the Patapsco River, and you see out toward the Chesapeake Bay. This building was built as a grain elevator in 1923 by the B&O Railroad. Grain came from all over the country, mostly by rail, and left on ship to go all over the world. And it operated until 2001. The developer, Patrick Turner, turned it into condos, and they began to be sold in 2009.
And then finally what happened was this corner unit that we'd sort of identified as this is our dream unit came on the market. And so that's when we said, we got to do it.
Oh man, I love the Vidmars. This was my first space working with corrugated metal and concrete ceilings.
Some of the concrete has been refaced or refinished, but some of it is original. And so you get rust stains and, breakage and exposed parts.
Grain dust, I'm told, is explosive, so it has to be very serious concrete. And so we have these massive pillars throughout the building. And you are reminded every day of the fact that it's an industrial building. There's texture everywhere. The ceilings are either drywall, concrete, or corrugated steel. In the dining room, the ceiling is corrugated steel, and one of our friends came over when we first got it and looked at the ceiling and said, "Are you gonna fix it or are you gonna leave it like that?"
We really wanted the view and the industrial space to shine, and then bring in the softness and the elegance with the flooring, the area rugs, the furnishings, bringing in that walnut in that herringbone pattern, just upgraded the entire floor. The dining room table is spalted oak. The oak itself has been soaked for years before they assembled it. The base of the table, the legs are a satin metal. It adds a bit of softness, but also relates to the dark metal finishes throughout the space. We also added that elegance with the crystal chandelier that is a linear chandelier, so it really spans the space. And the wall sconces really just frame out the gorgeous piece of art that they've carried throughout their lives.
We had worked with Brigid before. She helped us with the last house in 2018.
So it was great. Brigid introduced us to Houzz, and she would put together selections. And Jim and I could look at it together. It was like being in a good store where only the things we liked were in front of us. We love to travel.
And that didn't interfere with our project because we used Houzz wherever we were. They would pop up on both of our phones, we'd touch base and move on.
Brigid totally got what we were trying to do. So we were looking for a much more modern design, but comfortable. The lounge area where we have 4 chairs sitting around a round table has become, I would say, everybody's favorite place to sit.
Not only because you have the 2-story ceilings and the tall fixtures, it just feels really social and fun.
You can pull up a few extra chairs and get even more people around.
The light fixtures that were here before they moved in provided 1 light bulb for each fixture. Now we've got 8 lights that are integrated LEDs, and they're 42 inches tall. So they also draw your eye up, and you can see right through the fixtures. So they don't obstruct the view, but they provide a nice amount of light.
And then what we would call the living room, where the TV is it's comfortable. It's a really comfortable space. The ceiling is lower, so that's got more cozy lighting, more normal size room feel to it.
In terms of tying everything together, I always use color. We chose blue and white in the lounge, and we also chose to feature really a sunset vibe in the living room with elements of rust and orange. And so we really wanted to relate the sunset and the rust elements from the metal in the space to the area rug. Area rugs set the boundaries. In terms of scale, bigger is better when it comes to area rugs. And we also look at the fibers. For example, the dining room has a wool area rug, and we knew that it would stand the test of time. In the lounge and the living room, these are man-made fibers, but you'd never know it. So they're really nice underfoot if you want to walk around barefoot. They're extremely soft.
It was really important to me to work with a professional, not just for design ideas, but to push us a little bit too. So when you first come in, there's a relatively small but tall entryway. And so to open that up, we have this giant mirror and a beautiful light fixture. I don't think we would have thought, for example, to put a giant mirror in the entryway.
You know, the funny thing is, the freight elevator wasn't quite big enough. So then we actually were like, well, hey, we can use the stairwell. There's stairs. Guess what? There's one level where the corner was not big enough for the guys, the delivery team, to carry it up 11 flights. So thankfully, I found a mirror that was literally like a foot shorter.
She just kind of said, this is what we should do. And we said, all right, and it's beautiful. Using Houzz was critical to the success of this project.
Houzz Pro, all of the tools, really saves me a ton of time. So with the 3D floor planner, I use that to help engage with my contractor, my subcontractors, and my clients. So we're able to all look at the same document and collaborate together.
It's so nice when I can, work with someone that has the latest technology and everything is crystal clear and selections are approved.
With the kitchen, we were really challenged with an extremely small space, not only in the width, but also in the height.
The ceiling heights are all different. The kitchen, for example, which has a drywall ceiling, I can touch the ceiling without even standing on my tiptoes. But because the counter is open to the dining area, it works really well. We really chose minimalism in terms of the style of the cabinetry, and we also wanted to bring color into the space. We paneled the facade of the peninsula with walnut, and we also illuminated under the countertop, and that's a way of adding a layer of warmth to the kitchen. For the countertop, we chose to waterfall the edge as well as use the entire countertop for the backsplash. Engineered quartz is a great set it and forget it type of product. It's also a matte finish. We really didn't want to have it be too reflective because of so much natural light coming in. We really wanted to focus on the view there. So with all the different ceiling heights and all the different types of ceilings here, lighting is super important.
I really wanted great lighting, not to have brightness, but to have richness and depth to the lighting.
We chose 3 levels of lighting in each and every area, from recess to decorative lighting to task lighting, even in the cabinet, in furniture lighting, to showcase collections, art, in the areas that were most industrial. With the concrete, with the beams, we had to run conduits to light up the space. And it really kind of melts into the industrial space. It's just another element. The cylinders are surface-mounted fixtures. You can angle them to accent a piece of art or the area rug or a throw pillow. They were a great solution for this space.
And then upstairs, there's a loft, which again is a kind of a cozier space, lower ceiling, not a huge amount of wall space, and that's really my space. There's a rug on the floor that we purchased in Morocco that I love. There's, books and bookshelves and a desk, which was, in our old house, was our dining room table, but it's sized perfectly for me to use as a giant desk. So that's kind of my space. And I get all the light from all directions. I have the views in, we're on a corner, but I have the views in both directions from up there. So if I need inspiration as I'm sitting there thinking about something, I can look out the window.
We sometimes pinch each other a little bit because we're lucky to be up here.